For years, multiplayer games have meant competition, cosmetics, and chaos. Fast reflexes, loot boxes, battle passes, but not story. Meet FBC Firebreak, the first multiplayer title from Remedy, the minds behind Control and Alan Wake. A studio known for slow burn psychological storytelling, now diving headfirst into online co-op. Today, we're diving into why Firebreak might be the start of a new multiplayer era, and what that means for developers and players alike. Could narrative finally be the next frontier in multiplayer gaming? Let's find out. Multiplayer games have been narrative resistant. Historically, multiplayer games have resisted narrative not because the story is unwanted, but because the genre was never built to support it. If you look back at early trailblazers like Halo 2, Breakthrough Arena, or Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the focus was always clear: gameplay over storytelling. Multiplayer was where you proved your skill, not where you found yourself immersed in a living world. Even as gaming hardware improved and cinematic storytelling flourished in single-player titles, multiplayer modes remained stripped of emotional context. Sure, there were character bios and voice lines, but nothing deeply integrated into gameplay. Narrative was either non-existent or awkwardly bolted in the form of low entries or menu text. Take Overwatch for example. It has some of the richest world-building, character designs in gaming. Each hero has a fully realized backstory and personality, but none of that exists in the core gameplay. To experience the actual narrative, players have to go to YouTube or dive into animated shorts, webcomics, or fan-made timelines. Destiny tells a similar story. Bungie's sprawling space epic is filled with gods, politics, and nation wars, but that narrative is scattered across item descriptions, vague quest texts, and off-platform lore dumps. If you want to understand Destiny's story, you basically need to watch hours of low exploration videos. And the actual moment-to-moment gameplay is mostly just shooting things in beautiful environments. In most multiplayer games, story exists outside the match, not within it. It's never been prioritized, not because it's impossible, but because the design norms never encouraged it. But that's precisely why Firebreak stands out. Firebreak is trying something different. Firebreak marks a stark departure from the status quo. Developed by Remedy, a studio renowned for narrative ambition and cinematic world building, this game isn't about dominant lyricals or flexing skins. It's about exploring the unknown. Starting the same universe as Control, Firebreak embraces the strange, surreal, and supernatural tone Remedy fans have come to love. Instead of delivering it in a traditional third-person single-player format, they're placing it in a shared multiplayer space. At its core, Firebreak is a co-op PvE shooter where players act as agents of the Federal Bureau of Control. Their mission? To investigate and contain the strange anomalies that have become to warp reality. But this isn't a first-class shooter or looter shooter grind. Firebreak is designed around discovery, not dominance. It doesn't feature a battle pass, there's no PvP mode. There are no form of field cosmetics urging players to log in daily. Instead, Remedy wants to create an environment where narrative isn't the background noise, it's the very reason you play. The story in Firebreak unfolds organically, through mission structure, environmental design, character dialogue, and word changes. Players will slowly uncover a mystery that evolves over time. This isn't a story you want, it's a story you live through, piece by piece, mission by mission. It's an episodic narrative integrated directly into gameplay, and that's crucial because unlike Destiny or Overwatch, where narrative feels like a separate entity, Firebreak is making story a glue that holds everything together. By stripping away the pressure to constantly compete or grind, Firebreak frees up emotional bandwidth for players to become immersed. You're not racing through missions to unlock the next weapon tier, you're investigating phenomena. You're collaborating, you're paying attention. That shift in focus, from progression to purpose, is the boldest thing Remedy is doing here. Why narrative and multiplayer matters now. So why is narrative and multiplayer suddenly a big deal? The answer lies in the increasing exhaustion players feel in modern lifestyle experience. We're living in a gaming era where every multiplayer game seems to demand your attention constantly. Battle pass expire, cosmetics vanish, and season's content piles on faster than most players can consume it. This leads to burnout, fatigue, and ultimately disengagement. But narrative offers something different, intrinsic motivation. Players don't keep playing It Takes Two because they want to unlock a new skin. They play because the story is personal, affecting, and rewarding in ways the stat boosts can never be. HellDivers 2 has shown that even in a chaotic online setting, giving players a role in shaping a wider conflict creates investment. When players feel like they're part of something larger than themselves, a war effort, a global mystery, a narrative arc, they care more. Firebreak is stepping into this moment with near perfect timing. It aims to replace artificial engagement loops with meaningful world building. Instead of forcing you to log in daily or be left behind, it invites you to play at your own pace, engage with the world, and collaborate to uncover truths. This kind of storytelling not only improves player retention, it enriches the multiplayer experience itself. Narrative can give multiplayer games emotional depth. It creates shared memories, moments of tension, and builds specific stories worth telling. Whether it's discovering hidden life with your squad or debating the ethics of a mission decision, these moments are sticky. They last longer in memory than your creative ratio ever will be. Firebreak might not be the first game to experiment with this, but could be the first to get it right. How devs can actually pull this off? Now, embedding narrative into multiplayer is easier said than done. Most devs struggle with the logistics. Players move at different paces, some skip cutscenes, some just want to shoot stuff, others want to roleplay. So how do you please everyone? The answer isn't big budget cinematics, it's contextual storytelling. Games that do this well don't tell stories to players, they let players uncover them. Left 4 Dead is a perfect example. There were no big story moments, but the world told you everything. Blood on the walls, graffiti with cryptic warnings, abandoned camps, all of it implied a larger narrative. Storytelling was ornamental, letting players draw their own conclusions. This made it personal and immersive without breaking the gameplay flow. Then there's HellDivers 2, which tracks global player actions and updates the game world accordingly. When the community fails to invade a planet, that's not just a missed objective, it's a narrative consequence. That kind of systematic storytelling gives players a sense of agency, of being part of a larger arc. More recently, Darktide tried to include story through character banter and ambient dialogue. While the execution wasn't perfect, it proved that players will engage with narrative that's baked into the gameplay loop. Takeaway is simple. Story multiplayer doesn't need to be cinematic, it needs to be present, persistent, and integrated. Firebreak seems to understand this. It's building a world exploration story indistinguishable. Every mission, every anomaly, every mental detail is a piece of the puzzle. By embracing this philosophy, Remedy could pioneer a new standard, where multiplayer no longer means the story has to take a backseat. Firebreak may just be the first game to truly bridge the gap between companion narrative and multiplayer gameplay. It doesn't throw out competition but replaces it with curiosity. It's less about winning and more about uncovering something strange and beautiful with your team. If it succeeds, it could set a precedent, not just for co-op shooters but for how we design online spaces moving forward. Because maybe the future of multiplayer isn't about who gets the most kills or who has the flashiest skins. Maybe it's about telling a story together. Maybe it's about logging off not because you ran out of dailies, but because you found something that made you think. So I'll leave you with this question. Would you play a multiplayer game for the story? Not the loot, not the rank, just the experience, the mystery, the immersion? Let me know in the comments down below. And hey, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, share and subscribe to watch more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay silver.